All right. So, can a nice person be cheater? And to be a good person, it was a nice person. I changed the word. So let's work with nice. Okay. Can a nice person be a cheater? Right. Now, again, so all of those you that said one, I know some of you disagree with me earlier. Who here disagreed with me? If you disagree with me earlier, say one. If you agreed with me, say two. If you're somewhere in between, say three. You disagreed, one. If you disagree, put a two. You are somewhere in between. Like you're like, let me look at this. This man is trying to justify cheater here. Put a three. Please be honest, okay? There's no need. There's no. Please be honest. Let's have the conversation really quickly, maybe for a couple of minutes before we go on to the other stuff we have to discuss, right? What you're gonna learn a lot about in this book, right? What you're going to see a lot, like this red flag of a thing. I can't wait till you get your hands or your digital hands on this book, okay? You're going to see tons of stories, okay? That demonstrate, that will continue to demonstrate to you the picture of life as it is, the painting that we call life, right? What you're not going to find in this book is black, the color black, or the color white, okay, outside of just the text, right? In fact, I was thinking, you see this cream inside. One of the reasons why I decided not to do white, because I do have a book here that I really love, this book that I made white before. This book is all white, the digital marketing book, right? But this one's like, it gotta be cream. You know how people dress in white garment and they go to a wedding and they dress white? How many, if you were to put a percentage on it, how many of those people are pure? Just like what that white is supposed to symbolize. How many people of those people are white, right? You know, and you know me, I allow Brother Patrick to bring in the scriptures, okay? I do plug in scriptures here and there, but I feel like scriptures in a lot of people's eyes so watered down that even when you give them scripture, they already know where you're going, so they think you're trying to manipulate them. So I kind of stay away from them. I want us to dig a little bit deeper into some of these conversations where I am okay with being wrong, but we will have that conversation, Sha. We must have that conversation. So can a nice person be a cheater, right? And to be gone, even she adjusted her. She after after they started pulling receipts on her, she adjusted her position towards the end too. Even though she says, "Yeah, I won't let you change my mind." I was like, "Yeah, I know. That's the point. I want you to struggle with me. I want you to struggle. Don't allow me to change your mind. I want you to process it, right?" But let me see. Who said? Anybody say one? I didn't say the two or one. Okay, I see explanations. Shola said two, so you agreed with me, right? A nice or good person can cheat. Yeah, so you're saying two, right? This is the reality. We would like to live in the fantasy world, right? That's what they call blue pill, by the way. Like, let me just pretend it's not real. Close my eyes. Good people cannot cheat. No, you must be a bad person for cheating. Like, no, okay, no. I was trolling Cynthia earlier in that chat too. Like, can never be me. Timmy T said, "Never say never." We don't need shalaye around that. It's just the reality, right? Now Cynthia said, I saw her comment. She was like, you know, you speak into existence. I was like, clap for Cynthia. It's affirmation. There's nothing wrong with that. Affirmations do work, right? So let's not pretend like we're trying to make logical statements. We're just trying to affirm. We're trying to make the most out of our situation, right? Which affirmations are powerful, by the way. You can speak into existence, absolutely, right? And that's an absolute thing, right? Remember, I talk about attraction, law of attraction here all the time. So if you tend to be negative, you tend to attract more negative. If you tend to be positive, whatever you focus on among the two tend to expand. All right. So nuances is necessary in any conversation that has to do with romantic relationships or anything that involves human emotions, which is almost everything in the human experience. Anyway, Ola, I initially said no, but when you shed some light on it, I agree with you. I noticed that with many people in that chat, which is a beautiful thing to watch. Okay, I see everything. You guys know that. I'm not necessarily privileged. I don't have the luxury to respond to everything, but I see everything because it's easy to see, right? Without looking for it, by the way. Ola, okay, yeah, yes, a nice person can cheat, right? So wouldn't that depend on what we mean by nice? What you interpret as nice, well, no, that's not nice, right? Which is the reason why we keep talking about a nice guy finishes last. That will continue to be an argument for the rest of our lives, because somebody has been on the receiving end of a person who claims to be nice, and then they found out like, okay, he's still kind of nice, but this that he did, nice people are dangerous. So that's why I keep telling you, nice guys are dangerous. You gotta be careful with them. They are the ones who think, men, I'm talking about men right now, who want to fantasize that women just want you because they submit. Just because this, no, bro. You get to decide if she submits or not. You don't decide. She doesn't decide that. Okay? No. I know she said that I can submit. It doesn't matter what she said. Hear me out, okay? You decide if your woman submits or not. Okay? You decide. Okay? Remember your woman. Define your woman very well, right? So it's so many things going on at the same time, right? So nuances, context, right? So a nice person, yeah, somebody considered to be a nice person by gazillions of human beings can cheat. I'm not saying that. That's not my opinion. That's the reality we find ourselves in, right? And when people say red pill, that's what they say. They see it as it is, but actually a lot of people yelling red pill around the internet streets are blue pill, because they're fantasizing that people are just, they're still fantasizing about Hollywood, Nollywood narrative, like the end. The enemy was destroyed. The end. The bad man was destroyed, right? In real life, the bad man is not always destroyed. Okay, let's redefine bad man. Let's come back, okay? In real life, if you go into even a court of law, right? It's not about who is right. It's about who can prove that they are right. You never heard that before, right? That's the reality, okay? And often, I don't know if you've heard this before. A lot of innocent people are in jail. Yes, in the United States. You've never heard that? I pray that will not be your portion in Jesus' name, okay? But let's be guided. Let's be guided with some of these principles, right? Absolutely, yes. It's by God's grace. That's all I'm trying to say, Brother Patrick. You see? By God's grace. Ori Ofe, it's free. It's not by your doing. If you think it's by your doing, the only thing you're telling me is that you've never found yourself in compromising position before, like going to the fridge in the middle of the night to eat cake. I know you guys didn't feel. You didn't realize the reason why we disagreed on that being analogy earlier is because you're weighing one offense and real life, the universe, right? The supreme being, the most high God does not measure right and wrong the way we do. He just doesn't. I'm sorry. That's not the reality. He doesn't, okay? If you lie small, the one we call white lie is the same as a person who cheated, as in a full-blown korewa with another person, as far as the ultimate is concerned, right? Now, what makes that beautiful is that it's okay for you to try to measure it and then dish judgment accordingly. Where the scripture also says what it says about judgment, because he was trying to get us to be careful when you're judging, because that same measure, see, you like measure, Abby, that same measure, if it comes back, you won't like it. You won't like it. But let's see, we all had nice uncles who are cheaters. Like, this is the reality. It's everywhere, and it's fascinating that was an argument, right? And to be and another person felt like you were doing bro code, which was not the case. Yeah, bro code was not relevant to that per se. I wasn't trying to protect the brothers. The brothers are what they are. A lot of them have bad behaviors, terrible bad behaviors that they will collect for. They will continue to collect for it until they change. That's the reality, right? No, I'm a man. I could just do whatever I want. You know they don't get away with that, right? It might seem like that on the surface. They don't, okay? D said, I agree with you from the jump. Thank you, Jerry. I appreciate all of you, all of it. Gracious greatness, Kai. You people have started this thing, go. You people have too much money. Yes, so too much money. Thank you, bro. I appreciate the 10 pounds. I love seeing pounds. Wow. Thank you, bro. All right. So Chinja said 2. So agree with me. This is the point. No one is perfect. The only time we discount this statement is when we're trying to measure one offense against the other, right? If you cheating precisely means you're doing something that you wouldn't do in front of your spouse. It includes, if not more dangerous, texting weirdos, texting weirdos, and it's harmless, but you wouldn't show it to your husband. That's cheating, and it's probably more dangerous because if he finds out, he would never trust that you haven't done the full-blown thing. So it's worse because you feel like I should have done the whole thing. If you're at that kind of low place, you feel like I should have done the whole thing. Have you never heard people say, well, I didn't really do anything and I feel like I should have done the whole thing? All I did is trying to measure it. Emotions does not measure it like that. Emotions, God, supreme being, right? The human mind is a powerful tool. You can create 200 Nollywood movies in this moment, right now, right? But in reality, you can't create that, right? So if he sees that you're texting very, very intimate stuff with another human being, right? His mind will create 2,000 manosphere videos, right? His mind will create 2,000 manosphere videos of your back being blown out by strangers. Oh, no, sorry, by a high school ex-boyfriend. And now you'll be here saying, well, I didn't really do anything. It's not the same. What about you? They're like, it's too late. It's too late. Too late, right? And you can't manipulate him into forgiveness, right? Because they might not be able to forgive. Oh, by the way, a lot of men do forgive that kind of stuff. Just so you know, okay? No one is perfect. Let's pray we don't fall into temptation. Look at David in the Bible, for instance. There's tons of stories. Thank you so much. I don't get money at the times, though. No select 1, 2, 3. I appreciate you, bro. Nice people cheat. Many good-looking men can't handle attention. It's a good point. It's a good point. This is all I got out of it. Auntie Ronke got what she got. It is what it is. I don't know her full story, right? But that was the part that, nice people don't cheat? Are you sure about that? And I'll tell you why I actually think it's more of a dangerous statement. I said it on Archbishop, but I'll repeat in a second here. Yvette say I'm now a 2 after the explanations. Yvette, all right. So you were 1 before, right? I feel you. It's not to exonerate cheaters. Cheaters, they can get away with it anyway. They're not going to get away with it. And you shouldn't allow them to get away. In terms of consequences, you shouldn't tolerate it, right? Because if you're tolerating somebody cheating on you, particularly they're doing something behind your back that they wouldn't do in front of you, but you caught them. If you're tolerating it, or you're tolerating serial cheaters, if you're doing that, you're enabling the behavior, right? Because there's nothing to incentivize changing that behavior, right? Because you're tolerating it. It doesn't mean you're guilty of the cheating. It just means you should be aware that enabling it just makes logical sense to not expect any change behavior if it's being rewarded, right? But the other side of things is, let's say for some reason they're in a space and you feel like this is your family. You feel that if you don't feel that, nobody should manipulate you, but you feel like we can bring things together. The person is suggesting infidelity recovery, which is a real thing. There's a real program called infidelity recovery, which does work if people put in the work, right? Nothing works by itself, including marriage, unless you work it, right? So if you just conclude that it's only bad people, first of all, it's unrealistic, and it's no wonder why you're creating the kind of result you're creating. It's unrealistic to say only bad people cheat or only not so nice people cheat. It's just unrealistic. It's not the reality, right? It doesn't change the fact that it's a bad behavior. It doesn't change that. It's like, and the reason why we have to specify is not to exonerate them, is so you can adjust properly if you want to solve the problem. If the solution of the problem is that you should leave, you should still go from a standpoint that that person was not a bad person. Even if you decide that I can't, because trust issue is not anybody's mate, right? If you can't trust that person anymore and you decided that you wanted to move on, right? You should still be able to, you're able to do that more in a more healthy way by understanding that it doesn't mean they're inherently a bad person, right? It's just what it is, that you can't live your life looking over your shoulder that a person might cheat on you again. That makes sense, right? And if you're seeing them as a bad person, like an inherently bad person, there's a good chance that that's an indicator you're not able to move on properly, actually, because something about you is still hoping that that's not true, because you know inside of yourself that that person is not necessarily a bad person. You know that it's sad that you find yourself in that space, but you're trying to justify it with good or bad, or nice or not nice, or whatever it is that word we want to use to make a conclusion, right? It's almost the same thing as a person that's concluding that women are just bad. They don't listen. Like, it's the same thing, right? There's so many nuances to it, right? Anyway, we'll talk about that in a second. It's like, how can you be such a good father and community leader but struggle with lustful desires? Exactly. And act on them from time to time. Is it the same for women as well? I mean, if you've ever been to a strip club, you know what I'm talking about, right? Especially in cities where it's a culture, right? It's what it is. All right. A lot of people you consider good people, they patronize Oloshos. You don't want to hear that. I know. That must mean Ola is supporting it. Oh, no. No, I never said that. Well, I don't know if I need to shalaye that to you, but the point is, okay, people have bad habits that can destroy them. Okay, that's why I gave the cake examples. Something as simple as Coke, soda, Coke. Coke, soda. What do you call it in where you are? Depends on London. I think they call it soda pop in London, right? Minerals in Nigeria, right? You know, right? You know that you shouldn't be touching Coke. But guess what you're going to do? And somebody try to justify their own side by saying, well, that means they're destroying themselves. A cheetah is destroying themselves. If you don't see a cheetah as destroying themselves, you don't understand cheating yet. You don't understand infidelity yet. If you see that somebody trying to destroy you. No, they're precisely doing something that's bad for them. It's the same thing. Anyway, it's not the same measure. I know we want to measure cheating like right here, right? And soda is right here. I'm with you 100%. I promise I am with you. You're right.
Oh, you're right.
It is the same for women as well. Yeah. Women, the numbers are going to come out at some point. There are studies going on. I think women might be cheating more than men. When I say cheating, not the serial cheating type in Nigeria. In Nigeria, that one is clear. But I'm talking about just people sneaking out to for whatever reason satisfying a need. I'm not talking about somebody who doesn't see it as a big deal. But do your worst, go home. That's what's happening in places like Nigeria. Like, do your worst. I'm going to the club tonight. That's a different story. I'm talking about a person that is not out there, nobody sees, but they indulge in bad behavior for whatever reasons, right? We're just gonna outrightly call it just not nice. No, they're not being nice to you. That may just be their way of being nice to themselves. You have no idea what some men are going through in their marriage. Some men, not all of them, okay? Different channels can become an echo chamber. Self-selection bias happens with all channels. Yes, absolutely. Even here. Okay. Eventually, you start noticing you might start repeating me. At that point in time, is what it is. Like, this platform, at some point, I would like to, not this platform, I will have to create another one where the format is different, like a podcast and stuff, like the kind that they do it hardly initiated. I might do stuff like that where I allow people to have a conversation, but this format is this format, right? And it's coming from one person. And the danger of it is that you might start repeating my talking point. It's a reality. Which is, I laugh when people do that because there's nuances to everything. Cynthia said I was going down a rabbit hole or something like that. Oh, Cynthia will do all right. I like Cynthia's pushback. We need to ruffle our feathers a little bit, okay? Yeah. This is gonna take time. Potentially the rest of your life to learn this stuff, okay? Meaning, I say this humbly, what I am teaching is not your typical run to a textbook, you figure it out. That's why I say read my books 10 to 15 times. Like, no, it's not. Like, every time you're gonna something else, depending on where you are in your life, it's too many nuances to it. There's no right and wrong in any of this stuff. The only right that's there is that I'm right. I'm just kidding. Man, humans are so complex and multifaceted. Yes, we are. Yep. The wala is too much. That Coke analogy made people lose their they lost it all. They lost it. It wasn't cake. You know, I don't know, maybe Coke would have worked better. But yeah. For a second there, I was like, uh-oh. Did I say, MOP, I have a legit question. Do you think infidelity is associated with low morals or mental illness, maybe even an addiction for some? Addiction or addiction? Did you mean addiction? For some, I just can't relate with the cheating thing, so it baffles me. Did you mean addiction? Let me see. Did you mean addiction? When you say addiction, if you meant addiction, like an addict, yes, that's a part of the reason why a lot of people participate in that bad behavior. Low morals, yes, but keep in mind that we need to identify what your moral standards are, right? But I think most people's morals, if you're doing it behind your spouse's back, I think most people's morals, that defiles it. That's just, it's wrong. Wrong is wrong, right? It's just that we take the conversation beyond wrong for people who want to understand it so that they don't end up repeating it inside the same relationship or in the later relationship. Because a big aspect of this is the fact that, the fact that some people are addicts, right? Some people can't stop themselves. Does that mean they are free? No, consequences is free for everybody. That's two different conversations. Consequences and why they do it are two different conversations. What we try to do is we try to mix our own idea of consequences, right, with why they do it, right? We see the need to do that because we want to justify that we don't want to be a part of it. There's no need for you to ever shalaye yourself. I keep telling you that. If something is not comfortable for you, you simply remove yourself honorably. The honorably part is what we're missing. Sometimes when we want to remove ourselves, we want to drag everything along with it because we want to define. We're not able to move forward unless we say all of that was evil. That's not necessarily true. It depends on how you define evil, right? So infidelity with morals, yes. But it's just one piece, right, of the puzzle. It's a big old puzzle, right? It's one piece of the puzzle, right? Low morals. If you are very low, I don't know if you noticed I said that on the other show. If you're very low, when you're a broken person, you do all the wrong things. You would do anything that's wrong when it feels right. Feelings. When you're broken, when you're in that space where you just don't care, right? When you just don't care, right? Sometimes a small part of you still care. You don't want to get caught. Some people will finish doing it, right? Shout out to Lataras from the show Dear Future Wife. He talked about he wanted his wife to cheat too, right? That's that moral overworking itself. That's not good enough, right? That's not good enough that you want your wife to, after they cheat, and will you now accept them back? No, it's broken. So people will justify all the wrong things. They say, you two go and do it so I can feel good about myself. Feelings. Let's go back. All right. So low morals, mental illness. Listen, it's just mental illness. Illness is an extreme. Okay. There's too many people. Right. I'm looking benchmark here. I'm using benchmark. Right. Benchmarks, a baseline. If you like science, right. There's too many people that are cheating. So I don't know if I can go too far into illness, okay? Addiction, yes. Bad, let's just call it bad. There's no need for us to drift around it. It's a bad behavior, right? And you should never tolerate it precisely because that's you demonstrating your own value, your self-worth, right? You should never. Keep it that simple, right? And then you'll be free. When you start to make that person evil, you continue to own their bad behavior, right? And then it becomes more about you. I didn't know this conversation was going to continue this much, by the way. You guys will let it go. Or is it me? Let me keep it short and sweet. I think it's me. You can't relate. Yeah, you're not supposed to be able to relate if you've never found yourself in that space. It's not everybody that will find themselves in that space where they are participating in what they consider bad behavior off of their morals, and it breaks them, right? They struggle with that for a long time. Some people will never get over it. Like, I found myself doing what I knew I shouldn't be doing. But if you ask enough good people questions, they've all been there. That's if they're not too embarrassed to share that with you, right? So you're eating the cake in the middle of the night. Confession. Listen, I think my wife knows that I do stuff like that. But the fact is that it's still cheating because I wouldn't want her to find out in that specific. But I think she knows. I think she knows. Like, sometimes I want to, like, I love meat. I want to just gather like 3 meat and just, that's my meal. And I'm like, babe, like me, I just naturally do that. I just think it's polite to do that. Like, can I get 3 meat? And then she looks like I'm like, why are you asking me permission to get 3 meats? By the way, it's already on my plate, right? So it is what it is. But I still think it was a good analogy. I get why, when people have been on the receiving side of a cheater, I understand why they don't accept that as a good analogy. I completely get it, right? Yeah, that's how emotions work, right? Shout out to Eden, says, "Well, what is Portable saying about money? Is that soundbite? Say, oh, well, I mean, he said he has money. He said he has plenty money. That's what it means. He said, I got money. Don't try me. That's what he's saying. Sometimes cheating is not always as a result of a deeper issue. It can just be a moment of weakness. No, actually, I prefer to use a moment of weakness, right? Because when we start going into deep, too deep, I mean, you guys have seen that even when I start talking, if it goes too deep, I lose people instantly, right? And it's not just people that I lose whenever I do that. I lost the opportunity to give them a possible solution. Because what's the point? You know, even if it's a good solution, if they can't relate to what I'm saying, it's useless, right? So I actually prefer it to be described as weakness, right? Not as wickedness. It's weakness versus wickedness. There are some people that are just straight wicked, but in that they're not hiding. They're wicked. A person who is wicked will not hide it from you. That can no longer be defined as cheating. They're doing it right in front of you, right? Lack of self-control is also good to describe that. Lust, absolutely. Even the best of us are in judgment from time. Yes, I agree with that, D. Absolutely. That's better description of the cheating behavior, infidelity, to me at least. Emotional cheating is real. Arnold Schwarzenegger. I always struggle with that. Governor of a state got his maid pregnant. No be juju be that. Baba. Now God's grace, Brother Patrick. Now God's grace, okay. But when you practice good behavior, you position yourself, you put yourself in a system, you're on purpose, it's unlikely that you will have time for the BS, okay? It's unlikely. So I prefer that you set yourself up to win as opposed to, no, I could never be me. Like, says who? You know what? It can never be you. You're right. Love is not enough to stop a man from cheating. It depends on what you mean by love, right? Doesn't it depend on what you mean by love, right? It depends. Love is such a very complex word. Channels of this YouTube, I was watching one creator talking about coffee date and no coffee date. However, I think we're talking past each other. Yes, coffee date is perfectly fine as long as the other person agrees to it. Don't make it a rule. It's not a rule. People go wrong when they say, oh, I can only do coffee date. Or somebody here, a lame man, say, I can only go, like, well, I will never go on coffee date. You just set a rule too. That's the problem. That's a problem. You know? Let me see. In this, you guys are going in. Let me go to the bottom of it. Let's see. It's already about play. Yes, so it's already on the part play. So I'm not exactly asking for permission. And by the way, I do think in certain scenarios in life, it's better to ask for forgiveness first before you ask for permission. Okay? I believe in selective honesty. I don't know if you guys are aware. Okay? I don't believe that. I know what it means when they say honesty is the best policy. I don't believe it's an absolute, basically. Okay? I think a lot of stupid people use that as an excuse to be stupid. Okay? Honesty is the best policy, and then they're wondering why the other person is looking at them funny, even though all they did is told them the truth. You're surprised? Social intelligence. Stop it. Stop the cap. You're not that honest. You were just trying to satisfy your own sense of morality. It's pride.
Stop the cap.
It's pride. Now, let's be honest. That's pride. Okay. All right. So let's leave it alone. Now, this was going to be this. We have other stuff to talk about. We had other stuff to talk about. Okay. Can a nice person be a cheater? My idea of nice is all discombobulated because I know nice people that they don't mean any harm, but they will hurt you. Let me repeat that. I know way too many nice people, including the stupid blunt people that I just speak my mind. They don't mean to harm you, but they will hurt your feelings still, right? And I've chosen to give them the grace that I enjoy from God, okay? Sometimes they just don't know any better, okay? So how far can they take it is now the question. Would they take it as far as indulging in a small weakness, lost if nobody is looking? You don't know. You don't know. So I think the conversation is the definitions of the different entities of the statement. What is nice? What is a cheater? Right? Once we agree to that, and then we can now decide to disagree or agree whether it's possible. But I would still love to know what your thoughts are in case you're watching this as a replay later. I would love to know your thoughts in the comment area.